Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about Marcel the Shell with shoes on. This is a very cute little movie, but has kind of a beautiful heart at its center. I've been hearing Jenny Slate talk about making this movie on podcasts for something like 10 years, and it's sort of like one of those things I thought, well, that's probably never going to happen. And then it did. So I was wrong. This is directed by Dean Fleischer-Camp, who is her ex-husband. Who's also stars in it. He's the human guy in it. This is about Marcel, who's living in kind of an Airbnb with Anna Connie, who is voiced by Isabella Rossellini, and they're just two shells. And Dean, who's played by Dean Fleischer-Camp, directed the film, is making documentaries about them and putting it on the internet so they can hopefully find the rest of their family. And 60 Minutes gets involved and they try to figure out what exactly happened to their family and the people who used to live there before it just became an Airbnb. In a way, it's like Barbarian. I think this is just a sweet little animated film, but I think it shows the power of family. I think one of the reasons my daughter didn't like is because of all the tragic stuff, although I think she mostly liked it. She just doesn't like any bad stuff happening to people. It has a real beautiful sense to it that's sort of, in a lot of sense, it plays like the best intentions of sort of like the cutesy, twee indie stuff, and it seems like they're so far removed from when that was even as much in fashion that it can sort of be its own thing. But I think like the best of that, as well as like kind of reminds me of classic Disney in terms of the realities it kind of puts you in. It says a lot about like online celebrity. But Jenny Slate, this is really like her movie. She's a great voice actress. She's a great actress. I think projects to champion like Obvious Child, her voice work in Zootopia, probably like 4 or 5 other things I forgot about. I know she's on Bob's Burgers, which I don't watch a lot. She's in Everything Everywhere All at Once. She's just in general just a great actress, and she's really great as Marcel, who I thought was a girl, but then turns out is referred to as he a lot. So I was a little confused, to be honest with you. Because everyone I've ever known named Marcel is a girl, so I was just, and it's voiced by a girl, even though actually before I watched this movie I explained to my daughter that like sometimes women voice little boys in cartoons, and she was like, oh really? And like it's like like unrelated fact, and I was like, oh well, actually I really do think Jenny Slate gives a great performance. It's very cutesy, it's very beautiful, but I also think it's just like somebody, like it grabs your heartstrings, but it's like it feels like one of those soft indie movies where you're like, it's just about a shell finding their home, and you end up realizing like half your neighborhood has actually seen it because it grabbed them in a certain way. I do feel that way. This is actually a pretty big, nice, all audience kind of big family movie. I think she's been developing this forever, but Dean Fleischer-Camp, who also worked on it. I think they did an amazing job, as well as everyone else, Nick Parsley, and as well as Nick Paley, who helped write the script, and Elizabeth Holm, who has a story credit. Really went about making like really sweet, nice, compact kind of screenplay. But it's also like you like really care about like her little world, and like she makes these little steps and ways to go around things and stuff. And Isabella Rossellini, she reads a poem at one point. That's like some of the best acting I've seen her do in a little bit. She was really touching and moving. I thought that was like the real kind of like maybe hidden gem in this. I've always really liked Isabella Rossellini, but like she's very good in this movie. Everyone's very good. Just everything he says about like finding family or going on long journeys to things, and like what you discover along the way, and how you get discouraged. And in a sense, it's sort of like a nice cutesy family film about a journey to find something, probably the best one I've seen since Pee-wee's Big Adventure, where it, you say it and people go, ah ha ha ha, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, ha ha, Marcel the Shell with shoes on. I don't know who these people are laughing, but it sounds like cutesy and funny, but like, in a sense, what they're really saying is like this essential thing, like, we all want to find the thing that makes us belong, that makes us feel special. But this is like find the other shells and find them where they are, and like how they go about that journey, I think is really great. Everything was 60 minutes. I really like that because it's not 60 minutes is not cool. Leslie Stahl is great. I think she's wonderful, but like they found like the kind of like most normalist cool show to do that with, and I like that 60 minutes was clearly game and Leslie Stahl was game to do this. I thought that was, and to be like funny in it was pretty cool. So respect. Like, I think that's actually pretty neat. Like most of the time, you know, they wouldn't do something like that. So, or they'd have to get like, you know, have it be, you know, called Tick of the Clock, or, you know, and get like a celebrity or something to do it. And I kind of like the homegrownness to it. It really does feel like they're just in an Airbnb. Like, I completely buy that reality to it. And just her journey and how displaced I think we all sort of feel after everything, I think plays into that. It is just such a sweet little nice movie. In a sense, like I don't know if there is too much to say about this. It's just so simple and perfect in its execution. You know, it's the kind of film you kind of take for granted how well constructed and how well figured out it really is. You know, I do think like this is like a grand animation year, and you know, Pinocchio is great and everything we've had is wonderful. But its ambition is like just this little shell wants to find his family, and it just kind of wraps you up in this wonderful blanket, and you're just like happy for this little time, and with this quirky little, like, you know, just like simple home story. I think there's something wonderful about the small ambitions of this, but the big heart that pumps throughout it. And I think, you know, it's because they worked on this for a while, and you can tell like they fine-tuned it to being a very precise kind of a movie. And I think it's honestly probably one of the tightest kind of screenplays I've seen this year, because you don't doubt it really one instance. I was totally with this movie. I really found it very quite wonderful. Just a sweet little, sort of reminded me of Ghibli in that way. It's like, who's the villain of this, you know? Like, there's not even a surprise Disney villain or something like that. It's like you know, they're just problems that they come about because of things they sort of start themselves, but they're not really, no one I would say is villainous. It's just like things that happen, mistakes that happen, things like that. So sort of like life that happens in that way. I just found this to be a wonderful little movie, and I think that's what its ambition was. And you leave with this cute little shell, and you're just, you know, happy you were there. And I'm sort of happy I was there with Marcel. So if you've seen Marcel the Shell with Shoes On and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.